Jurgen quite rightly bring up Paul Pogba's second half performance there. A polarising figure that we've discussed a lot on the show, but when he puts in this sort of level of football, you can see why he's regarded by most as world class.
When you see the talent that he has, there is no doubt that the guy is a world-class player. But we talk about consistency, and it's what we are looking for when we talk about Paul Pogba. When he's that kind of shape, he's going to be unstoppable, and he showed it. He has the help of his teammates. We have to mention Fred, McTominay after. Those players who allow him to defend less and to be more obsessed, I would say, with the creativity. And it's what he did today. What he did was exceptional, especially the second half. I mean, yeah, congratulations to Paul, because we want to see that from a player like him.
What's interesting, Nedum, and obviously Cavani came into this game on a bit of a goal drought, but when you watch him in this sort of form, from a defender's perspective, he must be so difficult to deal with.
To be honest, from when you see the way that he plays, he's constantly living in your shadow. The moment you look one way, he goes the other. He always makes the right run. So when you look at his team, they just know that they have to put the ball into the right area, and more often than not, he's going to be there. Like, every time he has a chance, he's finding space. But just a moment earlier, he was with somebody, and I think that's ultimately why he's had the career that he's had. And when you look at Manchester United, when you've got people like Pogba, Fernandes and Rashford behind you, you know the surface is going to come. And I think Cavani, for as much as he's not played as much as he probably would have liked this year, he still looks a very key figure for them. When he's out there and United play like this, you fancy them to score. And to piggyback on what the guys were saying before, I think that performance from Manchester United and from Paul Pogba was exceptional. Even though Paul Pogba is polarising, I sit on the side of I love him. And when I see him play like this, especially feeding people like Cavani and so on, even as a City fan, it's a joy to watch. So credit to Manchester United, because in my opinion, they really are at the top of the best of the powers right now.
Meanwhile, let's talk about your former team, shall we, Jurgen? What's wrong with them?
I knew that was coming.
Yep.
Well, what's wrong? The biggest thing that is wrong, it's, you look at the table and you're missing 6 points right now to get somehow into the Champions League, and there's 7 games to go in. So that doesn't look so well. Obviously, they're in the League Cup final. That gives kind of big hope for the Spurs fans to get at least a trophy this year. But the expectations were far higher. Obviously, the expectations were actually to win the Premier League this year. They started off well this season, but then step by step, they couldn't keep up the consistency. They were too much relying only on Harry Kane and on Son scoring the goals. And if you look at a game like today, where Paul Pogba suddenly raises the bar, he brings everybody to another level, and his teammates then perform accordingly. Spurs doesn't have a player like him. Spurs doesn't have a player that is in the middle of the park and really controlling the game. And that you could really see today in the second half. So it's a critical moment. Obviously, when you lose at home, there will be always critics. But there are a lot of people not happy right now.
No, and rightly so, Jurgen, because I think when you look at this Spurs team on paper, yes, you mentioned the fact they don't have that sort of quality in midfield. It's still a very good side, and a side, let's not forget, who had the lead in this game, as they have had on many other occasions during this season, yet they don't seem to be able to see it out.
Yeah, and that's a question of personality. When you are leading a game and you have to kind of control it, dictate it, and then you need leadership. You need basically this type of personality on the field from a couple of guys and make sure, okay, we put so much effort in to get the lead, score the first goal. Now let's not losing it now, and that's what happened too many times throughout the last couple of months. They had the lead, and then at the end of the day, they were missing the points. So it's something that is part of the dressing room. It's part of the personality of the players. There are obviously great players in the squad. There's no doubt about it. But there's a little piece missing.
This team's underperforming overall, isn't it?
Yeah, they're underperforming because they're not quite sure who they are, what they're good at, and what they're supposed to be doing. Listen, for me, as this game started, I think you saw two teams wanting to play on the counter-attack. And that's when Spurs were at their best and maybe had that Manchester United goal stood, things would have played out differently. But then Spurs go up the other end, Heung-min Son scores, and all of a sudden, you see a Spurs team who seem unsure as to whether they now have to sit back and defend that lead or what to do. And I just don't feel that Spurs have that personnel. On the other side, you see Manchester United recognizing, well, now we're going to have to step up and play on the front foot. And Spurs just could not cope with Manchester United playing aggressively, with the runs of Pogba, of Fred, with Edinson Cavani, who is an absolute joy to watch play in that centre-forward position because of how he just lives in defenders' blind spots and picks his runs. And in the end, you have this Spurs team who, like I say, given the players that they have, aren't built to do what their manager is asking them to do, which is sit back and defend a lead. And in the end, a Manchester United team playing on the front foot with better quality got their just rewards.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.